Hi, it's me, and I'm not used to a film in the evening, and I think the clock is, what is it? Soon to be 9, and it feels cozy to be here filming. It actually feels like we can hang out and be chill. I usually film in the morning when I'm more alert and awake, but this is also cozy. I have been decluttering my apartment together with my husband. We still have a long way to go, but we have talked about things that we feel that we need for our home. And then of course, I also have a wish list of things that I would like to own. And some of these are things that we are gonna buy, and some of these are things that we're not gonna buy, but that serve for inspiration. And I think one can allow oneself to dream sometimes. That's what we're gonna do now. This is a brand that I have only seen on Instagram. I haven't seen anyone talk about them. It might just be me, but I think it's super fun to see this kind of very niche things. This brand is called Incartato. It's a play on the owner or the founder's name, and I think they are super cute, they are super fun, and I like the gothic font paired with the organic shape of the plates and of the coffee cups and the teacups. You know, I'm from Sweden and we like fika, and I think I have talked about what fika is many times before, but if you don't know what fika is, that means to have a cup of coffee or a cup of tea and something sweet. It's kind of the Swedish afternoon tea. It could also be like a snack or a fruit or whatever. And I feel that if I could and if I had the money, I would buy a set of these coffee cups and teacups and plates and then invite my friends over for fika. We usually invite our friends over for fika once or twice a year, usually around before summer starts, when before everyone leaves town, and then around Christmas we do adventsfika, which is a tradition in Sweden. So we try to keep up with those traditions living abroad. We live in Denmark. But I think it would be so fun to own these. Maybe one day I will, and I will be able to have a little shelf with all of these teacups. Some of the things on my wish list are things that I have talked about previously, but I would very, very much like to have a wardrobe in teak wood or some other darker wood. And I see these quite often on Facebook Marketplace, and the issue is mostly that we need to book someone with a car and then have it transported, and that can be like a little tricky or a lot of administration. I've seen these go for or be sold for 500 Danish kroner, which is, I don't know, maybe $50 US or something like that, up to like 5,000 Danish. So I think there's a lot of people who just want to get rid of these, and obviously some of them are in better condition than others. But I have a dream of owning one of these wardrobes and have it. I would like actually one in our bedroom and one in our guest room. I think it would make such a big difference because a wardrobe takes up so much space, and the wardrobe that we have now in our bedroom is, I don't know if it's an IKEA one or from some other furniture chain. It's big and it's bulky and it's very ugly, and it's actually not super functional. And I know that some of these are super smart, where you can have a lot of boxes and compartments and drawers and hangers and hooks and all of that to really organize your clothes and your accessories. But ours doesn't have those things, and I haven't, and it's also kind of falling apart. We have had to repair a few of the drawers quite a few times, and I just feel that it's kind of bad quality. We just inherited it, or we actually bought it from the lady selling the apartment. She wanted us to buy the wardrobe as well, and we just bought everything. And I mean, it's okay, but it's also ugly, bulky, and not super smart. So I would love to have a vintage big wardrobe that fits our style better, and I would still, and also, yeah, I would love it to be all the way to the ceiling. The one that we have now leaves almost a meter on top, and yeah, I would love to have a nice wardrobe that goes all the way up to the ceiling in dark wood. Lately, when we've had friends over, I've realized and I've reminded myself that we need wine glasses. We actually don't really have any wine glasses, or we have sort of wine glasses, but I would love to have adult, grown-up, real wine glasses. Our favorites are from the brand called Zalto, and those are super thin. And I think it gives a different experience when you're drinking wine from a glass that is super thin. It feels, obviously, it feels different from something thicker, and that can be something that people, I mean, sometimes it can be cool to have like a thicker glass, and I feel especially if you're drinking like a cocktail with like mezcal something, if it's more of a Mexican cocktail or something like that, I think it's more tradition to have those thicker ones, but I really prefer thin glasses. You know that I like to feature brands that not everyone knows about. So if you know of a brand, or if you maybe are a designer and you are creating something that you think that I should check out, please leave a comment and let me know. Because I think it's fun to find brands that are small or up and coming or independent, or just do something differently. That's way more exciting than buying things from IKEA. This brand is called Asca Studio. I think they are based in Denmark, in Copenhagen, and they make these super elegant Scandi cozy lamps, and I think they mainly do like super expensive stuff for hotels and that kind of thing. I don't know, but that's the vibe I get. Maybe they are just struggling artists like everyone else, but it feels like they do like bigger jobs and do like custom things. But I am a big fan of this lamp, this cozy wall lamp. I think that would be perfect in our guest room to create that calming, cozy light. I can really see this on the wall next to a bunch of pictures and frames and paintings, and I think it's super cute to mix wall lamps and lights next to paintings. I think that's cute. So I would like to do that in our guest room. I don't know the price. Whenever a brand doesn't put out the price, I just assume that it's super expensive. And yeah, I guess why else would you not put the price there? This is probably the thing that I wish the most for and that I think about all the time. You know that I have been posting on YouTube for a long time, and I think it was in November or December that I was finally eligible for the YouTube partnership program, or whatever it's called. That means that you can start earning money on your videos, and so far I think I have earned like not a lot of money, like $200 maybe in 2 years. That's not a lot, but I have a dream of one day being able to collect that money and use it to renovate a little part of my home. I mean, it would be super cool if I could use the first money from YouTube to create more content, and I know that I would use that money to buy a kitchen countertop. I would love a stainless steel kitchen countertop. We have one in wood now. It's super damaged because it's always wet because we don't have a dishwasher, so we're always washing our dishes by hand. And I think it's stupid. It's actually ridiculous that they have put in a wooden like countertop around the sink without using the sink that has, how do I describe this? That has that kind of border where your tap is, so it's always wet. I mean, obviously it's always wet around the tap because you're washing the dishes or you're washing your hands or taking a glass of water, and then it just spills water around, which is natural. So I think it's stupid that someone thought it was a good idea to have everything in wood there. But that's the situation, and I hope we can use the money from YouTube to change it one day. I know that it's super expensive to have those custom built, and this is also why we haven't done this before, because we live in a very old apartment. The building is 100 years old and it's not super even, and there are some weird corners and nooks in our kitchen, and I have looked, but I haven't found anything that kind of fits. I'm happy using something from IKEA when it comes to a countertop. I don't think we would be able to afford anything else, but even those are either too big or like something is wrong with the measurements. But I'm trying to stay updated and see if we can find something, because I think this would make such a big difference for our kitchen and for my overall mental health, kind of, because I feel so stressed about the water collecting and that damaging the wood, and I'm afraid that we will one day like lift up the countertop and see that we have mold or something like that. It's just a stressful moment for me to think about the countertop. So I would really like to have like a stainless steel, and my husband is a super big fan of stainless steel in any kitchen. He always says that his dream is to have a whole kitchen in stainless steel that you can just like wash. But that's not gonna happen, but it would be cool to have like a countertop and a sink in stainless steel. I don't think that it should be that hard, but somehow it hasn't happened yet. On the top of my wish list. I would also like to have more storage in our kitchen. If you have seen our kitchen before, you know that it's quite small, and someone living here before us removed, I think we used to have like cabinets, like top cabinets on the wall, because I have seen that in other apartments in our building. So I think that's what we used to have, but someone removed them and took them down, and now we have an open shelf situation. We only have one shelf, and that's not a lot. Because we don't have anywhere to put our things. It's such a headache to always move around things and try to fit it where like we have our rice there, but then it's next to the plates and then it's next to the spices, and I just would really like to have one shelf for plates and cups and everything, and then maybe one for like the nice food that you can put in jars, something like that. And I think it would also be super nice to have those in stainless steel, because the rest of the kitchen is in wood, and I think it would be a nice addition. I also have a dream of stripping the kitchen. The kitchen has been painted so many times, and we have, the doors are in solid wood, and I think they are original. They are super cute. I really love them, but they are this thick with like layers and layers of paint in all kinds of color. And I would love to strip them, sand them down a little bit, or not completely, just sand them to make them nice, and then paint them with, what is it called? Is it called linseed paint? you know, this kind of paint that they used in old times, and paint it in maybe like a nice green or even a blue. I think that would be super cool. Imagine having like a super bright blue color in our kitchen. I think that would be cool. But I'm also a very big fan of this kind of green. So yeah, that would be nice. And then together with the stainless steel top and the shelf. Chef's kiss. One very specific thing that I feel that we need in our home is a tall vase, but I haven't found any vases that I like. And when I find vases, they are often round and quite short. And sometimes I want to have flowers that are long. And I can't find a nice vase because I also don't want this, you know, super narrow one. I just want a nice taller vase. If you have any recommendations on where to find a vase, I would appreciate it. Otherwise, I guess I will have to buy clay and make one myself. Says the person who thinks she can DIY everything, but oftentimes I can. Doesn't always come out great, but yeah. The last thing on my wish list for this fall is fabric. Nice, thick fabric that I can use to make pillows, and maybe I could make like a nice blanket, like sew a blanket instead of having one that is knitted. Maybe I would like to have new curtains. I find it hard to find good fabric to do home things with. Like, I find fabric that I can make clothes from. As you know, I make a lot of clothes myself, and I mostly post the clothes that I make on Instagram, because here I talk more about home stuff and you seem to enjoy that better than fashion and clothes. So I mostly post about fashion and clothes and sustainable clothes and things that I've made myself on Instagram. But I would really like to be able to make nice covers for our pillows. It makes such a big difference if you have just other patterns or new patterns in the room. It makes a huge difference. It's time for me to make some tea and go to bed and read a book. I'm currently reading a book in Swedish that is called Jävla karlar, that got a lot of attention when it came out, and it's very, very funny. If you read Swedish, you should read it. It's by Andra Walden. If you don't read Swedish, I hope that it gets translated to your language, because it's kind of a biography about this journalist, or by this journalist. He's written about his childhood memories, and he's done so through the lens of a kid who thought he was gonna have a new dad every time his mom met a new guy. And it's tragic and it's funny and it feels very real. So I can really recommend that book. So that's what I'm gonna do now. Thank you for watching, and I hope you like this video. If you like me, I like you. See you soon.